I decided at 54 that I was spending about half my time doing things I love doing at work, and half the time things I just despised doing or tired of doing, had no interest in. And I got to the point where I didn't want to waste half my life.
Because we have Joe Kuhn in the house today, one of the most popular personal finance retirement YouTubers. And he's here. We got him locked in.
I feel like we need a round of applause.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not sure of that ranking if it's official, but
That's all right. We'll give it to you for today. So
It's
Joe-
our unofficial ranking.
That's right. Well, Joe, thanks for being here. As much as anything, you drove down from Evansville area to Nashville today. You had to fight the Nashville traffic, but you made it. It's not much probably warmer here than it is.
no, it's about the same temperature.
Yeah.
About the same temperature.
It's
But-
chilly.
And I'm excited to be here and talking with you guys. And we're partners and helping out the finance community, offering something that's different.
That's right. Well, today, rather than talking about other people's journeys, which we have shared on your channel as well, but we want to talk about yours specifically because you kind of fit right into that category of, hey, early retirement, what's possible, what are the things I should be thinking about? And we would just love to learn a little bit more about obviously what you did well, things maybe you wish you would have done a little bit differently or that you were glad you did 20, 30 years ago to help you get to this point. So I guess for those on our channel that may not be familiar with you, I'd imagine many people are, but for those that don't know you, I guess just kind of bring us a little background up to speed on who you are and what it is you do today.
Oh, great. I'm married. Been married for 37 years to the same person.
Hey, that's
okay,
great.
same person. We met in high school, so we've been dating a long time and married a long time. I got 4 adult children, 35 down to 28. 2 of them live locally, and I got 1 grandchild. Now, career-wise, I have a mechanical engineering degree. I started working for a large aluminum company, worked there my whole career. 32 years worked with the same company. I started off as an engineer, but quickly got into management and operations management. I had 3 plant manager jobs. I was also a global consultant for reliability and maintenance, where I traveled around the world, and that's actually what I thought I was retiring to, doing consulting on reliability and maintenance. And I did that for a little while, but COVID kind of changed that for me. A couple things, if I'm answering some of those questions, what I did well, I started saving at 22. I did something called co-oping when I was going to college. I worked a semester and then went to school a semester, worked a semester, school a semester, all through college. So you graduate with a year of experience and paid off college. So that's really worked out for me. But then I started working, and 401ks were introduced, I think in like 85 or something like that, and maybe earlier than that. But I started working in 87 and just started saving 9%. 9%. And then I got a company match on that. And then every promotion I got, every increase I got, I upped that by 1 or 2%. So if I got a raise, I'd take my family out to eat. That's just what we did. Joe got a raise. But then I would say I'm going from 9 to 10% to 11% to 12, and just did that my whole career. And then, when I was 54, I had a great job, but I would have told you I had no stress in that job, no stress. But it was a very intense job. It was 7 days a week. I worked 5 days a week, but then I did 2 hours of work on Saturday and Sunday. I worked every day of vacation. And I'm not trying to get anybody to feel sorry for me, but I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a vacation day and do email for 2 hours. That was the nature of the job. I got paid pretty well for doing that. But I decided at 54 that I was spending about half my time doing things I love doing at work, and half the time things I just despised doing or tired of doing, had no interest in. And I got to the point where I didn't want to waste half my life, And so that I said I was a reliability and maintenance advisor inside of my company. I just wanted to go on the road and do that myself. And I did that for about a year. And then COVID happened and the business model completely changed. I I started making YouTube videos, and I was getting 10 views and 50 views and 100 views and 500 views, and then some. I was making YouTube videos on reliability and maintenance. An exciting topic, I know. But one of the viewers, one of you guys, just said, "Hey, how did you retire? You were 54. How did you retire?" So I just started making videos on decisions I've made, why I made them, where my money's invested, when I'm planning on taking Social Security, what software do I use, how do I budget. I started doing that, and that's been going on 6 years now. I've been making YouTube videos.
Wow, I was curious how your YouTube journey started, and I didn't know that was the
Yeah, the
shift.
beginning is if you go back to the earliest videos, you'll see reliability and maintenance, and they're kind of embarrassing. The content's great, but with over 900 videos behind me,
I was gonna say, you'll be scrolling for a while to find those. You're pretty prolific on that.
Yeah, it's. I try to do 3 or 4 a week, whenever I want, but it's been quite the journey. One of the big things we've talked about in retirement is, what are you going to be? What's your gift? What are you going to do for fulfillment in retirement? For me, and I know a lot of other retirees, I'm not special, it's helping others, giving back, sharing information. And that's what I'm trying to do through YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah,
So,
thanks.
If nothing else,
Thanks.
take that. Yeah.
I'd like to take you in the Wayback Machine for a minute, because you said you started saving at 22.
Yeah.
All right. And I think a lot of people, they hear that and they're like, yeah, I mean, sure, everybody should start saving at 22, right? But like, how did you make that work? How did you become a responsible human being that went ahead and just did the thing? What's like the first, if you can remember, what's the first time where you realized, like, hey, this money thing, I got to figure it out, because nobody else is going to figure it out for me. And saving for retirement is meaningful and important. Was that when you got your first job, or did you learn the value of a dollar before that, just to use like a, kind of a way back phrase on that?
Yeah, my story is not cookie cutter perfect at all. I would say I credit my mom and dad.
Yeah.
I grew up living below our means. That's just what we did. My dad still lives in the same house. He's got like an 800 square foot house, and that's just what we did. I graduated from college, and I've got all this money. I'm not used to having this much money. Saving it was not a big deal. An early mentor, when I started working for Alcoa, just said, "Hey, we got a savings plan. This is what I recommend you put in there," and it was like 6%. I said, I look at my budget. I'll put in 9. I'll save.
Yeah.
Save for a rainy day. That's just living below my means was something that was just what we did as a family. We weren't poor. We went on vacations every year. We camped on a lot of those vacations. I think I had a great childhood. But
camping is a lost art. I feel like I went camping as a kid. I don't think I could get my wife in a
Oh, no. I tell people that's with my next wife. I'm going camping again. That's not with
We're going to cut that out.
I say that to her all the time. Roughing it is no room service, but, it was instilled on me very early. I wouldn't be retired early if I didn't have that value in me to pass on through family of living below your means. And then savings, that's just, I wasn't thinking at all about retirement. I was putting money in savings and had it grow. Every time I got a raise, I was living life. I had 4 kids.
Yeah.
It was just, long term for me was, can I make it through the day?
Yeah.
And because there's 4 kids, 7 and under, there was always a diaper to be changed, and somebody always needed to be, dressed or fed or something going on. And I was just living life. And I really didn't seriously start thinking about retiring until, I was probably late 40s. And then I said, hey, this is starting to come together. What do I want to do in retirement? I did have those thoughts. And that's why the director of reliability and maintenance for Alcoa was the job that I had. I designed that job. I created that job because I enjoyed the helping and coaching and mentoring, and that's what I did. I had 31 plants around the world that I would go to, and I enjoyed that. And I said, I kind of would like to do this full time.
Yeah.
And by full time, I meant that means 2 weeks a month. That was like I want to do that half the time and half the time travel and just have fun. So I really wasn't thinking about retirement until later, but I actually started saving just because that's what you do in the Kuhn family. You save money.
Yeah.
You live below your means.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think what a lot of folks, when they say, I wish I knew that sooner, they get a little too in the weeds about strategies when really it's the principle of we save early, live below our means, right? Principle is where you start. We live below our means, we save, we increase our savings rate every year when we can. Strategy would be like, what investment funds are we choosing?
Yeah.
When do we take Social Security? And I'm curious, just from your end, it sounds like to me, from your end, the principles are the important thing there. Did you get into strategy too much when you started saving? Were you thinking, well, this fund has an annualized return of X versus Y for this fund, so I'm going to switch this around and make big changes? Or were you mostly just saving diligently over the years?
I was just saving. And we didn't have index funds. We had American funds, a managed group. And, I had some international, I had some large cap, I had probably 4 funds, and I didn't change it a lot.
Yeah.
It didn't do much with it. I wasn't really diving into my finances. And you got to go back in time in your Wayback Machine to 87. There was no internet.
Yeah.
So the access to information and funds and returns were pamphlets that you got once a year.
Yep.
So, and watching your balances was something you did on the phone. You actually called on the phone, hit some numbers in to get your balances. It was quite the experience. Now, this is more rebel age. Early on, one of the things I would do, and we got in trouble for doing this at Alcoa, is Alcoa was a cyclical stock. So whenever it went down 10%, I'd move my whole 401k to that. And then this is when I had like $20,000 in it. And then when it went up 10%, I'd sell everything. And I would do that like 6 or 8 times a year. And I was making 40, 50%.
Yeah.
For about 4 years. And
Would
then
you do that with your portfolio?
No, we'd do that now.
Yeah.
That was
like I was a younger man.
That helped. It was fun. It was exciting, and we all talked about it. But I got out of it and stopped doing that and just let it go. Yeah. Probably just got busy with my kids. But there were some people that played that game and lost big time.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially, I'm doing this at 22, 23, 24 years old.
Right.
And they were doing it at, 30s and 40s, and it did work out well for them. But, living below my means, one of the things I love talking about is to get very specific, it's cars. Mm-hmm. Cars is the one thing, if you win the car game, that is so valuable. I know people that get a new car every other year.
Wow.
And what's that cost you in insurance and the maintenance? You have to, if you get a ding in a brand new car, you get it fixed, right? You get a rock hits you or something like that. Well, you'll see out in the parking lot, I drive a 2012 Toyota Sienna minivan with almost 200,000 miles on it. Got dents all over it. I don't have seats in it in the back.
Yep.
So I use it like a truck. And that's just me. I can buy a new car, but I'm like, why? Why would I do that?
More maintenance, more clutter, all that stuff.
It's back to the values of living below my means, and cars are transportation, and you can spend your money on whatever you want.
Yeah.
I don't feel that living below my means was any. It wasn't a throttle on living life now.
Right.
I have 4 kids. Like I said, I give them advice: live life now. Don't wait till to travel. Travel a little bit now. While you're young and you can climb that mountain, you can go on that hike. Don't delay life, but you can also don't get trapped into lifestyle creep, which is a major problem and something I credit that's a big part of why I was able to retire at 54.
Yeah.
So you have obviously a successful YouTube channel, and you've made a lot of content. You've had thousands and thousands of people reach out to you. Just shifting gears to that for a second, what's been, I don't know, I want to say the biggest maybe surprise or thing that you've run into common themes wise for other people that are trying to do what you've done successfully, that, you know,
You're not talking about creating a YouTube channel, but
not
we're
necessarily
talking about
retiring, yeah, that, you know, because they're reaching out to you, they ask you all these questions, and we've talked about this even off camera. It was like, hey, you know, I get people all the time messaging me, asking me about how I did what I did. What would you say are the common themes you get from these folks, or the things that, you know, kind of like we talked about previously in another episode was, you know, what have they done successfully, or what are the ones that are maybe asking you the questions you're like, I don't know if this person's.
Well, you know, it's lifestyle creep. It seems to be the dividing line. There's people, you know, they get the new job, they buy the new car. They get the new job, they buy the new house. And then when you got this big house, you got to put furniture in it, and then you got to paint it, and then you got, you know, it's the keeping up with the Joneses. Social media has made it worse on, you know, people that take these exotic vacations, and you know, and that's how you're happy. But you know, lifestyle creep is something that you always got to watch. You got to watch it now in retirement. I have to. And, you know, my whole career. And you could see people that are in position to retire early, especially early, they have it as a value that, hey, I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to create experiences. I'm going to live a great life, raise a great family, but I can drive a 13-year-old car, a 15-year-old car. Or this house is great. I love the subdivision that we're in, or the farm that we're on. And they spend money on experiences and to bring joy, not as competition. That competition, if you have $100 million, guess what? Elon Musk has more money than you. There's always somebody with more money.
Yeah.
And so who are you really competing with? And so that lifestyle creep is, I talk to my kids all the time about lifestyle creep, but those are, you know, you could just, when I interact with people through comments or emails or live, you could just see the dividing line, lifestyle creep. Oh, I got to buy this new house. I got this new car in this, you know, then I show them my car, you know, and I go, man, you know, that's a piece of junk, you know. And
Yeah. And I think we talk a lot with our folks. Hey, you got to play your own game.
Yeah.
You could go on social media, you could talk to your neighbors and friends, and it's good. I mean, I think actually more open dialogue about money would be helpful in a lot of ways. But in some ways, you got to be comfortable playing your own game. If you've got a specific goal and a specific set of circumstances you're working with, your game is going to look different. Your path is going to look different than that person next to you.
yeah. And one of the cool things about retirement, also another, you know, you divide people into who's retired and who's not. Once you retire, there's no competition.
Yeah.
It goes away. I have a couple of retirement groups I get together with. Nobody's competing with net worth or cars or anything. It's just like everybody's won the game, and the sense of competing and keeping up with the Joneses just fades away.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. That was a surprise for me. A great one too.
That's good to hear. You mentioned something about, like, obviously avoiding lifestyle creep and comments you get. One thing that I'm particularly interested in with helping our clients do, and I'm curious how you do this, but how do you communicate those values and pass them down to your kids? You talked about that with your parents setting a good example. Like, the Kuhns save their money. They live below their means.
That's what we do.
Did you just, like, tell your 5-year-old the Kuhns save their money and live below their means, or what did that look like for your family?
This may shock you, but starting at the age of 7,
Okay.
I got my kids involved in my 401k, how much money I made. And I said, you know, one at a time, this is how much money I make. This is my savings account. This is how I'm, you know, investing that money. And then we would, you know, just share that. I'd also take them through a few neighborhoods, and I would say, that guy is an engineer, that person is a plant manager, that person's an accountant, and, you know, just there are consequences to decisions you make. That's, you know, yeah. I mean, there's decisions you're going to make in life around, maybe it's delayed gratification. You're going to get that education to be a welder, and you're going to get a good job, making $100,000 a year with overtime as a welder. But hey, this person's an accountant, and look where they live, look what they're driving. I'm not trying to get into lifestyle creep, but I've taught my kids from a very early age. Most people are surprised when I said I started that at 7. And hey, I'm moving this fund over here. I had like 4 funds in my 401k. I said I'm going to rebalance, move money over here, and they were just involved in that. And it wasn't it wasn't a 2-hour meeting with it. It was like 7 or 8 minutes.
You didn't bring them in for their quarterly strategy meeting.
But they were exposed to money and spending and budgets at a very young age, and I don't know anybody else doing that.
Yeah, I don't know many parents that do that. I will say, though, my dad did. My dad's a financial advisor.
Yeah.
And this is his 45th year in the business or something like that. But I had that same experience. I want to say I was in 2nd or 3rd grade when he started walking me through these different things. And I remember going to hockey practice. I joke with people because people are like, well, how did you get in the industry? I'm like, I remember my dad, I was 14. He was driving me to hockey practice, telling me I need to get my CFP. And I'm like, well, I'll get there one of these days.
Yeah.
But looking back, I don't really think about that very often as far as just how early he got me involved and showed me the different things, whether it was for clients or himself or the family dynamic, and obviously what the trade-offs were. And he would say, like, successful people do what other people don't want to do, right? And I'm like, all right, well, if it's obviously money is an easy thing to tie that to and to quantify. But no, I mean, I love that. I love that you shared that because I haven't heard any of our other clients or anyone else that's actually done that same thing for their kids. And obviously, we were talking about your kids earlier. It sounds like you've set them up all very well. They're all doing great.
Yeah. One of my funny stories was with my daughter. She's my youngest. Is when you're bringing that conversation from just about money to careers. So we're talking to I'm talking with her in late high school, and my daughter was a very good artist, and she she can paint, she can create, all kinds of crafts, and is just very talented at it. And I said, art's a hobby, not a career. And that's my daughter to this day will say, art's a hobby, not a career. She paints Christmas ornaments now and gives them out as gifts. And, these would be $100. But, maybe I'm evil for, steering her away from art. But she loves art right now, and it's a great hobby for her. But if you want to go down that art path, there's options that are open to you and closed to you when you do that. She is a chemical engineer, and she brought her flair for art and creativity to that. And she has a lot of hobbies right now when she has time between taking care of our granddaughter and not. But that decision she made to go into chemical engineering started when she was 7 years old.
Yeah.
When I started talking to her about money. Now, call me evil. I'm a capitalist.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like you said, decisions we make, actions we take, they have consequences.
Right.
Right. And one of the things I think that's relevant there is if art is a job, or if engineering is a job, or if playing a sport is a job, or whatever that is for you, it's a job.
Yeah.
Right. It's not the same as when you're in high school doing art.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there's a piece of it there
you
that's
could
relevant.
bring your passion to the job, whatever it is. Mike Rowe on Mike Rowe Works. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, and is
Dirty Jobs, Mike?
Dirty Jobs,
Oh,
Mike.
yeah.
How could we not have heard of Dirty
he's
Jobs?
I love his content. I listen to his podcast, but he doesn't like the advice parents give their kids to say, follow your passion, follow your passion. Most people have passion internally, and you're going to bring your passion to whatever you're doing. I made aluminum, and most of that aluminum went into beer and soft drink cans. Now, there's no 16-year-old that's saying, my passion is to make aluminum beer cans. That's just
They might
not
have
there.
a passion
Maybe to
about
drink
beer.
them. Yeah.
But you're going to bring your passion to the team, and to the process, to the group. It's passion comes with you in whatever you're doing.
Yeah. You're still you.
You're still
right?
you. Yeah.
And you talk about that on your channel quite a bit. Like, I'm just Joe.
Yeah.
I'm just a
Yeah.
guy here who retired, trying to help other people retire. And I think everybody who watches your channel, everybody who sees this, should check out your channel.
Yeah.
And honestly, that is something I think that makes it unique when you talk about your journey. Is you're just talking about a guy's journey to
Right.
retiring a bit early and making that a fulfilling life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And handling that for yourself and for your family.
Yeah, where I saw a gap in the financial YouTube space, there's great content coming from financial advisors, and I don't try to compete, don't want to compete with those folks, but I'm just trying to tell my story, decisions I've made, why I made them. I may be wrong, but this is what I'm doing, and people don't like talking about their money, and so hearing me talk gives people confidence in the decisions that they're making, or maybe to retire early. So that's the hole I'm trying to fill, and I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people. When I'm making a video, I envision I'm just talking to one person. I don't think that I'm talking to 10,000 or 100,000 or a million people. I feel like I'm talking to Jane or John or Jake and Kyle. Just one person. And yeah, that's just the vibe I'm trying to put out, because that's where I'm most comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people resonate with that clearly, obviously,
Yeah.
from the results. And from your side of things, Joe, I mean, obviously, we've talked to a lot of folks that have been introduced to us through your channel and what you do. And a lot of people say it all the time, like, man, I love Joe. I've never met him, never talked to him, but I feel like he's my best friend.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
That is humbling. It's embarrassing sometimes. I get actually stopped in public.
I was going to say, I was
do.
going to ask you, how many times has that happened to you?
Oh, hundreds.
Do you have any story that's particularly stands out?
The funniest one. My wife just rolled her eyes on this. It was May a couple years ago. We were in the Olympic National Park in Washington State, sitting around a campfire. It was a fireplace in a lodge. And it was just Lisa and I in this lodge and the person at the front desk. And it was a beautiful wooden structure. We're just sitting there. And this guy comes out of the dining room and just tilts his head and looks at me, and he leaves. I didn't see any of this. My wife told me, they said, there's something's wrong with that guy over there. He's checking us out over there. He comes in with 4 other people. There's 5 of them. They come up and say, are you Joe Kuhn? Are you Joe Kuhn? My wife's not going to believe this. My wife's not going to believe this. Can I take a selfie with you? And my wife is just going, oh gosh. Yeah. That was the funniest one.
That's awesome.
Because I mean, it was just, we weren't in a crowd.
Yeah.
There was just the 2 of us, and somebody walked in, and it was just
That's
funny.
incredible.
I took a cruise to Alaska last year, and somebody on the cruise caught me. We were watching one of the shows, and they always started saying, "Are you Joe Kuhn?" And it is just like I forget. It's really easy to forget that I put YouTube videos out. Not that I actually put YouTube videos out, but I'm making the YouTube videos alone in a room.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to 5,000 people. I'm just uploading a video.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And sometimes you forget that goes out to, 250,000 people a month in viewers look at it, like, oh, that's a big number.
Well, it is. I mean, and there's so many people that, they use the stat, what is it, 10,000 baby boomers retiring basically every day.
Yeah.
But there's so many people, and that funnel of baby boomers isn't really necessarily stopping, even if it shifts to the next generation, right? But there's so many people that are looking for answers and clarity on that from somebody who has done it and somebody who's willing to just share their personal experience.
Yeah, that's the niche I'm trying to fill, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy, because I know it's the comments. People leave me a comment, and the ones I love the most are they say, "Hey, Joe, I retired a year earlier because I started listening to your content." And I just love that I made a difference in that person's life, in their stress level, the time that they're going to spend with grandchildren, the time they're going to spend with their spouse. To think that me making a video takes me about an hour to make a video impacted somebody's life. That's humbling. I'm actually getting goosebumps now just saying that. That making a difference in somebody's life is what I'm trying to do.
Well, that's what it's all about. And that's
Yeah.
what people say. Like, when I retire, I want to make a difference, or I want to give back, like we talked about before, and like what the things you're doing. Obviously, YouTube is that amplified.
Yeah. Well, and YouTube gives you great flexibility
Yeah.
of time. I make videos whenever I want to. On a rainy day, I may make 3-4 videos on a rainy day. Then I may not make a video for 3 or 4 days. I've gone 2 weeks without making videos, but the viewers don't see that.
Yeah.
They don't see that. They see, Joe, you're putting out consistent content. That's not the way I don't make one video and then post it that day. I time release them.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I'm delighted that we got to get in person. I know we've talked quite a bit over the last year,
Yeah.
but obviously you're real, we're real, we're all here.
Yeah.
And it's just been fun just to get to talk to you about, I know we talked a lot about retirement and planning, all these other things, but just to hear more specifically your journey, look you in the eyes and hear about it it's impactful. And I think it's something also that people just continue to resonate with as they already have with you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.